Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you how I come up with color palettes for my clients and for templates. It's one of my favorite things about being a web designer. I could spend all day just playing around with color palettes and coming up with different combinations. So I'm going to share with you a little insight into my process and my favorite tools to use that make it even more fun and a great experience, not only for me, but for my clients. But before I show you all that, if we haven't met yet, my name is Meg. I'm the founder of Floating Lotus Design, and I'm a Squarespace web designer and SEO specialist. So, like I said, color palettes are so much fun, and I love being able to take inspiration from clients and translate them into a beautiful color palette to use on their websites. So why don't we just cut to the chase, and I'm going to show you how I do this. All right, so we're in a tool here called the Color Palette Pro. I have mentioned this in some other videos before, but this is a tool that is built from the Color Palette Studio. They have some amazing tools for all things color related, and from everything from mood boards to creating color palettes and font pairings. I highly recommend you checking them out. They're great for designers as well as DIYers. So I have been using them for, I want to say, about a year now, and stuff just keeps getting better and better. So I'm going to show you how I utilize the Color Palette Pro when I'm creating a new color palette for a client. All right, so when I log into Color Palette Pro, I am given these options to start with their design style. So they have some preset design styles that you can use as inspiration. I can do DIY, where I start with a photo or mood board, or I can generate random. As you'll see over here, it's just constantly generating color palettes over here. So you can do whatever you like. Now, when I'm working with a client, generally I am going to go with the DIY option because I'm going to have some images that I have as inspiration that I'm going to want to use. I am going to set the number of colors that I want to have in the palette I create. I'm going to set this at 5. And the reason I choose 5 is because when I'm designing a Squarespace website, Squarespace has a 5 color limit on the color palette that you can upload. So I'm going to start with that. So next I'm going to upload an image. Now, typically when I've worked with the clients, they have provided me with some images and some inspiration, and I will have taken those images and pulled some of the best, get a cohesive look and feel to them, and build a mood board. And so I'm going to upload the mood board that I've created for this fictional client. Okay, so here we have this mood board that I created, and the vibe and feel here is generally of kind of a Parisian and French countryside feel, lots of interesting greens and blues and muted shades. So it's going to be a fun color palette. So once I've got that in here, all I need to do now is click Generate Palette. And over here on the right, it's going to come up with some things to start with. And I can just keep clicking Generate Palette and have it cycle through lots of different versions until I see something that catches my eye. So this is an interesting look. I'm going to come down and take a look down here, and it's giving me each of the colors. I can move the order of them. You know, if I want the dark stuff to be down at the bottom, I can move that way. You know, generally with Squarespace, I'm going light to dark. So I'll kind of set them up that way a little bit. And taking a look, well, this is good. I like this. This is a nice place to start. This could be an interesting look. I'm going to go down here and check the contrast tester. So they have 3 options for different levels of accessibility for contrast. I typically go with 4.5 as the ratio I'm always targeting. And this tells you how many pairs of these color combinations meet that contrast ratio. So if I click on that, it's going to show me what those pairs are down here. So there's only 6, but I've got this, not so bad. These are good contrasts. They're up to almost 8 and well over 4.5. So I kind of like that. So this has some good combinations here. This could work for my fictional client here. I've got at least 3 different backgrounds and text options that will work, and there's strong enough contrast. And I like that there's some diversity here, that I do have, you know, an option for a dark background and a few different lighter backgrounds. So I think this could work, but I don't like that we've just got these hex codes here. So what if I wanted to go up here? I could come up with my own color names if I'm feeling super creative, or I could name the colors. Fun thing I love about this tool though is I can get this customized theme, and I could say French countryside and hit apply. And then when I click name colors, it's going to generate names. And look at that. It's generate names that go with a theme. So they're that French countryside theme, like lavender, rosette, sage, truffle, moss. So I love that. I think that's a really fun way of being able to come up with great colors, because when I am presenting a palette to a client, the names of the colors are going to resonate with them, not the hex codes. And not just simple like, oh, it's gray, it's blue, it's green. So if you can blend it in with the theme and the inspiration and things that they're looking for, it really can help them, connect with a palette as well. I like this. I'm going to go with this palette. I'm going to click these as my approved pairs. I'm going to go back to my normal here, 4.5, and I'm going to click approve pair. And how do I want to share this with my client? Well, first off, I can save this in my project so that I can come back and work with it again, but I can just hit export here. And I now have a lovely printout of the palette I can select what codes I want to have. I will generally always put in the hex codes, which they'll need most places, the RGB and the CMYK. HSL didn't really need to know much. I'll include the names, and then I'll also click here, the approved color pairings. That way they'll get that section where they can see which backgrounds and text colors work well together and that they can use over and over again on their website. Now, I can download this as a PNG and save that and provide that to my client. But not only that, you can also come over here and hit Export Studio Code. That will give me this messy looking thing. You're going to, what does that mean? But here's the kicker, and this is one of my favorite tools, and it's free. I'm going to hit Copy Studio Code, and I'm going to go over to the Color Buddy Chrome extension. This is a free extension, and I have mine right up here, where you can save your color palettes and your approved pairs right in your browser bar so that you can go and grab them anytime you need. You don't have to go searching for, where did I save that file? What's that hex code again? They're right here. So I always recommend to my clients that they grab this extension, and I can provide them with this code. And they just have to go in to the Color Buddy, and they can hit create. And I'm going to call this French country. I'm going to hit OK. So I've given it a name. I'm going to go find it, and I have French country. It starts black. It starts just plain black, but I'm going to scroll down, and it's going to say paste your export code here. So that code that I just copied, I'm going to paste that here and click populate. And look at that. It populates each of the colors with their hex codes, and you can circle through whatever you want here. You can rearrange them, but then you can quickly copy that hex code. So if you're in Canva or if you're in Squarespace, anywhere you might need that hex code, you can just go to your browser, they can grab it and copy it over and paste it. But even better than that is it also includes those favorite approved pairings, so that if you need to quickly look, you can just grab it right from your browser and say, oh yes, the rosette on the moss is an approved pairing. So that way you don't waste time in your website or anywhere else trying to figure out if you're using something that has a good contrast for accessibility. So love it, love it, love it. Can't live without it. And that's really how easy this makes it to create a color palette. Now, typically with my clients, I will do 2 color palettes so that I can give them an option and they can tell me what resonates with them. So let's create another color palette. We're going to use the same mood board, but let's come up with something a little bit different. So come back, and I'm going to hit, I'm not going to keep any of these colors, so I'm just going to create a completely new palette here. That's interesting, a little too similar to the other one. I want to go with something that's going to be a departure. This is a departure from the last one. The other one was a little bit muted and darker. This one's got some more vibrancy. It's picking up these blue tones and these oranges. And this is an interesting look. So I like that. So I'm gonna try this. Let's just name these colors. Fun, kind of French inspired colors here. And let's check our contrast checker. And oh, well, this is interesting. So here I've got much fewer pairs that are contrasting, and I've only got 2 that actually work in the 4.5. So I could go back, maybe play around and regenerate some more. But I also have the option over here to get more pairing. So it'll suggest some other colors to add that might work. So I'm going to add something really dark, maybe something in the green, but it's a little lighter than the olive. And I do like this peach color. So let's add these 3, add these colors, and see what we come up with. Now I've got 14 pairs here. So that works really well. But now I have 8 colors and I only want 5. So I think, if I'm looking at my pairs here, what's a good one to kind of pull out? This one only has like 2 options, although I do kind of like that bright pop of orange. I'm kind of not loving the brown. So which 2 or 3 could I remove and still be happy with? I think I'll remove the olive, since I'm going to go with this green color. And so I'm looking here. As much as I love that pop of the orange, I think I'm going to get rid of that one. And now I'm kind of between the sage color and this light green. And I think the sage is gonna go. So, all right, I've got this now down to another 5 color palette. This works for me. I've got 12 good pairs. I'm gonna rename all my colors. And now I've got a second color palette that I can pair that with their mood board, and I will then come up with font pairings. I'll create that export file as well. I'll share both of these color palette options with my client and help get them to decide which one resonates with them best and pick one for their website. And then we move forward from there. So really condensed this and moved through this quickly. There's lots more that I could show you. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I could spend hours playing with mood boards and images and coming up with different color palettes. It's just a creative process that I can get lost in, and I really enjoy it. And the tools that the Color Palette Studio has come up with just make it that much more fun and also easy for me to do. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen and you've kind of got that color bug as well, definitely check them out. I'll leave my affiliate link down in the description, and if something catches your eye that you want to buy, you can save 10% using my link. But whether or not you buy anything, definitely snag the free Color Buddy Chrome extension. So, you don't have to use any of their tools to make use of that. You can upload and create your own color palette, keep your hex codes right there in your browser. It's chef's kiss. It's just one of my favorite extensions. I use it all the time. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of quick peek behind the scenes of my process for coming up with color palettes for my clients. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And also, let me know, do you like some of these more kind of sneak behind the scenes of my process videos? And would you like to see more? Let me know, and maybe I'll record some more. So that's all for today. I will see you in the next video.